Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is looking at the full moon in Aries, which is occurring on the 5th or 6th of April of 2023. And I live in the Midwest of the United States, and this is going to be occurring at 11:34 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you live on the West Coast, it's going to be 9:34 p.m. If you live overseas, like on the East Coast, it'll be after midnight. So it'll be on the 5th and overseas as well. And this is the pink moon. If you've ever heard that song by Nick Drake, I actually played it the other day just because I was getting ready for the full moon in Libra, I guess. But it's a great song. And the reason it's called the pink moon is because in the northeastern United States, there are these flowers that are these wildflowers that are pink in color that pop up every early spring. And yeah, I love wildflowers. They're so pretty. I'm thinking, I don't know if they're the same flowers that I'm thinking of, because I know there are some wildflowers, but they look purple to me. So I'm not sure if that's the same type of flower. They had a picture of it on almanac.com where they will tell you the origin of all of the full moon names, but I'm not quite sure if that's the one that I'm thinking of. But in any case, it is associated with spring through this flower. Now, of course, if you live in the southern hemisphere, you're like, how come you guys are always talking about your things? And I don't know. That's just how it works out. So anyway, what we're looking at here with the full moon in Libra are two things specifically that I would say. First of all, the issue of justice coming to a head. The full moon can bring things to a climax. And I can see specifically, and I'm recording this on the 2nd of April, I can see how in the next week this could be front and center in what we are dealing with. And remember that full moons are oppositions with the sun, and the sun is in Aries. And Aries is ruled by Mars, the god of war. And so there's an aggressive energy with Aries. Aries and Libra are cardinal signs. So when cardinal signs are front and center, you can pretty much expect things to happen. This is why the equinoxes and the solstices are during the times when the sun is going into cardinal signs, because it is signifying the change of seasons, which is symbolic of change. So will we see some major changes occurring, some kind of realizations that lead to change? That's very possible. I want to look at some of these aspects and how they are playing out in terms of the energies around this full moon in Libra. But I also want to say, because I said there are two things, the other thing has to do with relationships. So if you're in a relationship that's on rocky ground, of course you have to look at your chart to see where this full moon is falling, because if it's not falling in a relationship house, it may not directly impact your relationship. But, full moons can make people emotional. And in this case, because Libra is a cardinal sign and opposing Aries, there could be the strong urge to take action. And Mars is in a cardinal sign in Cancer. Now, it's not aspecting the sun or moon because it's too far apart to do so, but it still is acting as its own you could say its own free agent. And remember that Mars has been kind of held back in the sign of Gemini for so long that now it's in Cancer. It's kind of like, I think it's kind of wild. I've been wondering why things have felt so emotional lately, and I think it's due to this influence, and I think it kind of had been stymied because Mars was not allowed to go into Cancer as it normally is within 6 weeks of Gemini. So it's kind of unleashed right now. And being a cardinal sign, there's like this demanding nature emotionally with Mars and Cancer where people are like, put up or shut up, in their personal relationships sometimes. And like, I'm not hearing it. I want to see evidence that you are committed to me, that you do love me. So with Libra, the issue is commitment. Libra rules the seventh house of committed partnership. Anybody can have an affair. Anybody can say that they love somebody else. But the commitment level of a relationship showcases the desire of the other party to actually spend their life with this person. So these issues of commitment may come up, and the person may be quite emotional, but also adamant about it. Like, I'm not going to just sit here and wait. We also have Mercury and Venus in Taurus. Venus in Taurus is very self-indulgent. Expect, if you are like, for instance, going out, I was almost treating this like, Valentine's Day or something, which maybe we should create a ritual for the full moon in Libra to go out with your sweetheart. But Venus in Taurus is very self-indulgent and indulgent with one's partner, very sensual. And so this can indicate the desire to buy somebody that you love an expensive piece of jewelry or lingerie or whatever. I mean, anything that enhances the sensual side of life. Maybe chocolate covered strawberries. I don't know. And Mercury in Taurus is very, can be very rigid in one's views. So when we are talking about possible social change or some kind of development, I don't know about social change, but something happening. I mean, the full moon can bring out secrets or information, and in an air sign, yeah, I mean, it could be that things are revealed that have to do with legal matters, and this could be in a for the collective, not just for our personal lives. And the fairness, was this a fair law, or is this something that is fair? And justice for people who have been wronged. With Aries, the justice, it's almost like street justice because it's got that warrior energy to it. So, it's always possible with this opposition that there will be protests. I'm trying to think. Well, I can think of some things where they might happen, and we're already seeing in Paris that there are major protests. And actually, there are other countries in the world. Peru has been experiencing upheaval. Of course, the United States. But when the sun is in Aries, that warrior energy certainly can be front and center. Um, Jupiter is in Aries too. And Jupiter is within orb of the sun to form a conjunction. So this is actually a very positive time in a certain respect because we have this fire energy, even though it is, the volatility factor is certainly in play, especially in Aries. It at least has this element of being very can do. So people feeling more self empowered, but also maybe even hopeful, maybe even believing that they can manifest great things in their life. Because Jupiter is the planet of luck and expansion. And when it connects with the sun, there is this sense of the individual feeling that they can, they're feeling very expansive. There's also an opposition between the moon and Jupiter because the moon is in Libra. And this can indicate very, very exaggerated emotions. And the person, and this is for the collective. So, even though the sun is in conjunction with Jupiter, that can sometimes make a person feel inflated in terms of their own sense of self. And so emotionally, there could be emotional excess. Now, of course, we associate that with full moons in general. I'm not quite sure about, I think it depends on everything combined, whether or not you experience a particular full moon as intense or not, because full moons can be emotional, but if sometimes they feel rather festive and not necessarily heavy emotionally. So it all depends on, what else is going on. And I would say with this particular situation that I don't think it will be heavy, but it may be very emotionally volatile. And another example of how this could play out is the square between Mars and Neptune. Because, this has been kind of plaguing us for some time. And I will say that Mars is in water, just like Neptune is at this time in Pisces, but it's too far apart. So basically, what they're saying is that since since Neptune is at 25 degrees of Pisces, that it's very close to Aries, and so Mars is at 5 degrees of Cancer, so it's an early degree of Cancer with a late degree of Pisces. It's considered a square. Now, this is a loose square, in my opinion, so it probably will not have the same effect if it was closer together. But still, I have seen this, in prior months, the square between Mars, but well, because Mars was in Gemini for so long, it was squaring off to Neptune in Pisces, and the upshot is that it can lead to a person doing something, maybe being very idealistic about what they're doing and not realizing, because they're being deceived by Neptune as to what is really going on. And I think that this has been a recurring theme of the last few years, is this idea of, why do we do what we do? Are we doing it for the right reasons? Or are we under this idealistic spell that we think we're doing something to be altruistic that really isn't what it's claiming to be. That is deceiving. That is deceptive. And this can play out in so many different ways. Um, a person can hear something on the news and they feel like this urge to just kind of, um, do something about it, but they get sucked into this illusion. So, as always, be very grounded and make sure that you know exactly why you're doing what you're doing, because Neptune can bewitch people into thinking that they're doing something for the benefit of humanity, and really they're just, you know, digging themselves a deeper hole. There's a square between Mercury and Pluto, and this can be a kind of like a obsessive ideas that the person finds very hard to let go of. Again, when I'm doing these readings like this is for the collective. So, we already see some of these themes, just, being, recurring themes. But this is a time when the energy is heightened. So these themes may really show up in a big way. And remember, I said that Mercury is in Taurus, and that already is rather stubborn, rigid. So the square is a stubborn energy too. And to Pluto, there is that sense of um, even like the powers that be, the oppression, the tyranny, that there is this feeling that the person doesn't feel like they are sovereign in their thoughts, and that they are kind of like at the mercy of other people's propaganda, or whatever you want to call it. And these kinds of obstacles have to be dissolved, because as long as people believe that, then they give away their power. And, that's why we have Pluto now in Aquarius. And, you've probably heard astrologers talk about the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was during the American and French revolutions. Well, somebody was pointing out, look at the, we're having another French Revolution right before our eyes, and America isn't far behind. We know this. Now, how it manifests, I think it's already manifesting, but it's just a matter of time before more and more people are aligning with one another, that they're not on opposing ends of things. So it's a very heightened time with these cardinal signs. That there might be a sense of like something has to give, something has to be done, because like at full moons, there is that crescendo, that climax, that sense of, things coming to a head. With the moon in Libra, there is this urge to keep everything harmonious, but the sun is threatening to like kind of blow a gasket. That's why, these two opposite signs, they are very opposite in a lot of ways, because one speaks of war and one speaks of peace. But you can't, sometimes like a revolution is inevitable. And it's not that people want to um, be fighting, but they feel like they have no other choice. And then peace is also something that that's what we're seeking. And sometimes we're not the ones that are creating the warlike conditions. We're just trying to kind of maintain that balance that Libra is known for. Okay, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.